Good evening and welcome to Mid-Valley Bible Church's 56th virtual prayer meeting. My name is Doug Hornock and I'm the pastor at Mid-Valley Bible. I'm recording this devotional on Monday, November 2nd of this week because Connie and I are headed to Jackson, Wyoming for a pastor's retreat that begins Tuesday. That means that I'm recording this before the election on Tuesday. Now hopefully by Wednesday night we'll have the results of the election. I'm sure that there are going to be some races that are absolutely too close to call, some real nail biters. But hopefully things will be clear by Wednesday night as to who our next president will be. The last thing we need is for this national election to be drawn out for days or weeks on end. And for the past few weeks, I've made no secret during these prayer times or from the pulpit on Sunday mornings that I believe this election is as crucial and pivotal as any in my lifetime. The stakes for this election are as high as any have ever been. And because that's true, we simply can't sit back and do nothing. And because that's the case, Christians have been praying for this election as never before. Because the issues at stake are as great as ever. The issue of abortion, how we're going to define marriage and the family, the issue of gender identity, and a host of other critical matters clearly separate the candidates at all levels as they have never before been separated. And I take seriously the responsibility and the obligation that I have as a pastor to urge and advocate for Christians to vote for policies and principles and politicians that are most consistent with Scripture. And by the time you view this, we'll know whether our prayers have been answered. But irregardless of whether we know the results or things are still up in the air or whether we feel our prayers have been answered, I want to remind you of a truth that you and I can hold on to. A truth that's found in what was the great reformer Martin Luther's favorite psalm, and that is Psalm 46. And the big idea in that psalm is simply this: God, in the midst of all the upheaval of our world, the confusion and the disruption from natural disasters to wars between nations, is in the midst of us all. And that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. In fact, it was this psalm that formed the foundation for Luther's most famous hymn that served as the battle hymn of the Reformation. A mighty fortress is our God. If you've read anything about Luther, you know that he was prone to depression and discouragement, especially during those dark and dangerous periods of the Reformation. And during those times of discouragement and doubt, Luther would often turn to his good friend Philip Melanchthon and say, "Come, Philip, let's sing the 46th Psalm." And they would sing, "In Festenberg in Zundergott, a mighty fortress is our God." The literal translation of that hymn reads like this: "A sure stronghold our God is he, a timely shield and weapon. Our help he'll be and set us free from every ill can happen. And were the world with devils filled, all eager to devour us, our souls to fear shall little yield, they cannot overpower us." I want to read Psalm 46 to us this evening, and I don't want anyone freaking out by what I'm going to suggest next. But I want to ask you to just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and I want you to meditate on these truths as I read them from Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose stream makes glad the city of God, the place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice. The earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." I have no idea the outcome of Tuesday's election. But regardless, that is a truth that we all need to be reminded of, that God is in control. I want to close with an illustration that comes from the life of Martin Luther. Luther, as a Catholic priest, was celibate. He never married. He took a vow towards that end. But when he left the church, he married a former nun named Katharina von Bora, and they had 6 children: Margaret, Madalena, Paul, Elizabeth, Hans, and Martin. And they had an absolutely fantastic marriage. She was as strong-willed as Martin Luther, and she was able to keep him grounded. As I mentioned, he was prone to depression, and on one occasion he spent 3 days in a black hole of depression over something that had gone wrong. On the 3rd day, his wife came downstairs dressed in mourning clothes. She came down dressed in black. And Martin looked up, and for the first time in 3 days, he spoke 2 words. He simply asked, "Who's dead?" And she said, "Why, don't you know? You, the great Martin Luther? Martin, don't you know who died? How is that possible?" And this time he said 3 words. "Woman, who died?" And she said, "Well, God died, Martin." After her answer, Luther spent the next 30 minutes rebuking her and giving her a theological lesson that God is eternal and cannot die. After which she replied and said, "Well, Martin, the way you've been acting, I was sure he had." Now here's the takeaway. No matter the outcome of yesterday's election, no matter the chaos and uncertainty of today, let's remember that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. And so with that reminder before us, let's now go to prayer.